What's up guys, Leopold the Brave here at Crossover X for another beautiful episode of Scene Selection. Now if you've been a fan of CX for a while, you know we have our roots in versus debating, meaning we research all kinds of characters from video games, cartoons, movies, and of course, anime. And a lot of these anime characters have actually become some of our favorite characters of all time, and that's what today's topic is. Whether they're nostalgic childhood heroes or brand new discoveries, no anime character is off the table here, so let's get started. And I have quite a few, so I guess I'll begin with Krillin from Dragon Ball. Now the jokes on Yamcha I can understand, but Krillin, he deserves better. While he may not be the most useful in a fight, he's done plenty of other important stuff. He had tons to do in the original Dragon Ball, he took out multiple Cybermen in one shot, his incredible leadership role on Namek, and he always does whatever he can to help others when they need it. Not to mention that he has some of the coolest attacks in the entire series. There's the Scatter Bullet, the Destructo Disc, which he never lands but was so good that other characters decided to copy it, and he even enhanced Tien's Solar Flare 100 times over. Aside from what he's done in combat and in the story though, Krillin in general is just a really cool, chill, and funny character. He has lots of comedic relief. But if we're getting into haha funny territory here, I might as well move on to Keroro from Sergeant Frog. Now Sergeant Frog as a whole is incredibly hilarious, but it wouldn't be nearly as funny without its star Keroro. If you ever wanted Invader Zim, but in weeb form, there you go. Rather than conquering Earth, Keroro would much rather spend his time building Gundam models, watching anime, checking his email, and whatnot. Sounds a bit dull at first, but once you realize he has an entire platoon to bounce off of who are ready to take over the world, the humor becomes unmatchable as they pull him away from his distractions. It's just one of those animes like Panty and Stocking that feels like they were made for the dub, as Todd Abercorn's performance cracks me up every single time. But would you believe me if I said that Keroro still wasn't my all-time favorite anime character? Who does that title belong to then? Well... It's the one and only Takamura from Hajime no Ippo. There are lots of anime with joke overpowered characters that are never around when the protagonist needs them, otherwise why would we need the protagonist? But the cool thing about Hajime no Ippo is that all of our main characters are in different weight classes, so their journeys never interfere with each other. That way Takamura can still be OP as heck and not be a joke. Now in the realm of versus debating, Takamura is nothing impressive. But when you actually watch him fight and don't really think about all that stuff, you'd swear he could take down Goku. He dishes out some of the most monstrous and hardest anime punches you'll ever see, as he ends fights within a single round, if not a single hit. Even when he makes it to the world stage and takes on opponents much closer to his level, it doesn't make him seem any weaker, as his battle against Brian Hawk is still my favorite anime fight of all time, period. Takamura is a great character outside the ring too though. Not only is he downright hilarious as one of the best comedic reliefs in the show alongside Aoki, who's already funny enough on his own, but he's also got some of the most interesting character arcs in the series. His relationship with his gym mates and the coach, his vulnerable moments like his weight training against Brian Hawk, and his conflicts with his family. Takamura just has tons to offer, and I definitely recommend checking out Hajime no Ippo if you want to see more of him. Just unlike Sergeant Frog, choose subs this time. You'll thank me.
I waited so long to finally talk about this anime on this channel, and now my time has finally come. So, Binbogami Ga. Yeah, I freaking love this anime. On top of having a great story about a girl with an immense amount of luck going toe-to-toe with a poverty goddess trying to take away her good fortune, while at the same time learning more and more that happiness is something that should be shared with others, it's also got a great ensemble of characters that show up throughout the series. I mean, it's also got great visuals, great humor, a banger opening, and much more, but this isn't a review of the anime, so I'm not going to gush about that stuff. What I am gonna gush about, though, is a character that not only brings me joy every time she's on screen, but also helps make the show truly special to me. And if you know who the character is in my profile pic, you probably have an idea on who that is.
Knock knock, who's there? The queen of the poverty god realm, Momiji. Please come in. Why, thank you.
Meet Momiji of Binbogami Ga, a poverty goddess from the land of the gods and the anti-hero of this series. Yeah, despite her being the rival to our main protagonist, the lovely Ichiko Sakura, Momiji isn't exactly the full-on villain here. Sure, she does get Ichiko in many situations, and the two of them fight and compete against each other a lot, yet at the same time she's usually there for Ichiko when she needs to help save a friend or open up to others about her past and why she is the way she is. And in all honesty, that's what I love most about this character. She's basically the personification of why I love this anime. On the surface, she seems like a typical comedic relief character complete with fourth wall breaking, referential humor, and getting jealous of other women for having much bigger you-know-whats than her.
I can suck all that fat out of your chest if you want.
But beneath that, you can see a character who, despite her rivalry with Ichiko, still cares for her and wants to make sure her life is still good, even if she has to give up her good fortune for the better. And it especially shows with the two of them growing more of a frenemy relationship compared to their bitter rivalry beginnings by the end of the anime. But Momiji isn't all doom and gloom, and she's also one of the funniest characters in this series, hands down. On top of the aforementioned fourth wall breaking and referential humor, Momiji as a whole is just highly unpredictable. You never know what to expect from her when she's on screen, let alone when she just shows up out of nowhere unexpectedly. Lastly, I do want to give a mention to her overall design. It's a pretty unique look as a whole, with the hair over one eye, the plastic cast over her right arm, which is actually just a seal for her misfortune energy, and that all-around raggedy look that really sells that she's in fact a god of misfortune and poverty. Not to mention that her main weapon of choice, alongside the many other poverty god items that she uses throughout the series, is a freaking giant syringe. It's not often you see something like that used as a weapon in an anime, and it's very fitting for a character whose job it is to take the happiness away from someone. And yes, it's very, very painful, meaning a certain orange gi wearing Sane should be very, very afraid of coming face to face with her. And that basically sums up everything I love about this character. She's not only hilarious, but she's also a very well-meaning and all-around fun character that finds a way to always put a smile on my face every time she's on screen. I can't really say much else except if you're in the mood for something comedic with a great story, give Binbogami Ga a watch if you can. I can't recommend it enough, and I really hope someday more people see just how much fun and even emotional this series as a whole is. Give this amazing anime a watch and see for yourself what makes the self-proclaimed queen of the poverty gods so special.
That's all I got for now. Really sorry, babe. I got a job to do, and unfortunately, that doesn't include personal therapy sessions for your fake love life.
My Hero Academia is a series that is all about inspiring heroism in the world around you. Throughout its hugely varied cast of heroes and villains, it's easy to find a favorite that resonates with you, whether it's for their personal ideologies, their badass fight scene moments, or just their cool and flashy superpowers that beat up the bad guys real good. But with a cast that shines so brightly and makes a big splash with their abilities, it can be easy to miss those whose powers aren't so eye-catching, but are hero material through and through nevertheless. It's in that subcategory of Hero Aka's cast that you'll find a one Eijiro Kirishima. Hero name, Red Riot. Kirishima's story is interesting in that his hero origins can be seen as something of a mirror opposite to the show's main protagonist, Deku. He was born with a quirk that allowed him to harden his skin, and as a kid, he hated it. Not only was it a difficult quirk to use, but it wasn't all that useful for heroics, and Kirishima wanted desperately to be a hero. But when his chance came to save his classmates when they were under threat from a villain, where Midoriya sprinted in without thinking to save Bakugo, Kirishima was frozen. No matter how much he wanted to move and save the day, he was paralyzed in place, his self-doubt and loathing of his quirk leaving the door open for Mina Ashido to step in instead. This moment drove Kirishima to reflect on his heroic aspirations, and it's one of the main reasons that he's one of my favorite characters in the entire series. Despite the weakness and mistakes in his past, Kirishima resolves to always look forward and to never succumb to his inner demons, ever in the pursuit of manly self-sacrifice for others. Everyone has their moments where they doubt their dreams or their ability to reach them, and it's those moments that can define the strength of a person's resolve. It's a powerfully realistic struggle that makes Kirishima's motivations in life extremely relatable. He still has moments of fragility, just like anyone else would when faced with adversity, but he doesn't let it define him, and instead turns it into motivation to harden his spirit, which for me is an especially inspiring quality for a person to have. And hey, speaking of hardening, let's talk about that. Kirishima's hardening quirk may not be the flashiest, and sure, you can joke about him being Ash's Metapod on steroids all you want, but he still finds ways to put his power to awe-inspiring use. Kirishima uses his quirk in a manner befitting his motivations. He can harden himself to become a wall that is unmoving, a shield for others that does not yield. And when his normal hardening isn't enough, he takes Ao the Edge and literally embodies it with Red Riot Unbreakable, which is only one of the rawest goddamn transformations you'll ever see in Hero Aka. In a series that constantly drives the message of going beyond and going plus ultra, Red Riot Unbreakable might be one of the most literal interpretations of that philosophy. It's all or nothing in this state. Either Kirishima is an unstoppable and unbreakable bastion, or his actual skin starts to break off after he takes a heavy hit. And even through something like that, he'll resolve to keep fighting and protect whoever is behind him. It's a testament to his manly philosophy, which finds its origins in his idolization of an old pro hero, Crimson Riot. It's from this seasoned veteran that Kirishima learns a lesson that he internalizes after he seriously doubts his dream of becoming a hero. Strength isn't found in someone who has no fear at all, but rather in a person who recognizes fear, feels it in their soul, and chooses to stand up for what's right anyway. It may not have the raw power of All Might's smile or the flashiness of Endeavor's flames, but it's at the core of Kirishima's heroic philosophy, and it's why he, out of everyone else, is my favorite character in anime.
My name's Shinobi Sub, so I'm pretty sure this one comes as no shock to you. One of my favorite characters of all time is Kakashi from Naruto. Now, if you haven't seen the Nux Taku video on how Kakashi's actually the main character of Naruto Shippuden, I advise you go watch that because it is an amazing description of a lot of the reasons why Kakashi is so widely loved. I really wanted to be out there and name one of my other top 5 characters of all time in anime, which would be someone like Hiei or Zoro, but I haven't even finished One Piece, and Hiei is more a godfather of a lot of anime tropes we see today and one of the sickest characters of all time. But Kakashi, with all the runtime of Naruto and all his development, is hands down the greatest and my favorite anime character of all time. Now, if you don't know who Kakashi is, he is the sensei of the main character Naruto Uzumaki, or technically I guess the second. I don't think this is really much of a synopsis type of series, but just in case no one knows who the god Kakashi is. Kakashi is a shinobi born from one of the greatest shinobi of all time in the Naruto universe, the White Fang, and Kakashi grows on to be one of the youngest and strongest shinobi in the Hidden Leaf Village, which is where Naruto takes place, of all time. He's known as the copycat ninja, the man of 1,000 jutsus. Everyone in the freaking series knows him. You could look up compilations of enemies in Naruto recognizing Kakashi and his strength, but the reason I love him isn't just because he's sick looking, he has a sick mask, and he has some of the sickest fights in all of anime, but he's also one of the most well written, one of the most tragic characters in all of anime or any media in general. I don't want to give up one of the most critical points of Naruto and the biggest spoiler, or one of the biggest spoilers, but essentially his backstory has everyone he's ever known and loved killed. Essentially, this dude deals with death after death after death from such a young age, but winds up being this genius shinobi who has to take on these impossible odds, creating his first jutsu at what I believe is 8 or 11 or something crazy like that, and joining the Anbu Black Ops at a record young age. And it's crazy what he's able to achieve, and the people he goes up against, odds he goes up against, his powers he uses, his strategy, his brain, his intelligence, his stamina. Everything about this dude is sick as hell. Really, this dude just has straight up drip. I mean, look at his costume, he's so sick, and his fights are amazing. I'm gonna play a few of them probably now, or I've been playing them throughout the video, but he is one of the sickest characters in all of anime. anime, and I know I've said this so many times, if you haven't seen Naruto, probably should start watching it because it's amazing, and Kakashi is the reason I watched the show. Also, he's probably the reason why I call myself Shinobi Seb. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I'm out.